How we doing, gamers? Rise up with me and sit down right there, because it is story time with Howie. Yes, a brand new series. There's a fucking bee. Hold up now. Where the fuck did it go? Oh, okay. Okay, target acquired. Yeah. Target down. Target down. Well, nothing like starting your video off with first like good 3 minutes that you gotta edit out. Anyway, welcome to Howie with story time with me and you. Some of you may have noticed that last week I did not upload a gaming video, just a podcast. That's because I was out of state. I went to a wedding for one of my friends, and surprisingly enough, this friend I met on
the internet.
That is how I know them, and it's very dangerous. You don't want to meet people on the internet. Well, it turns out some of the best friends that I have are from the internet. So, Mom, I'm sorry, this time you were wrong. But no, be serious. Be careful with who you meet online. Disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer. How did this all happen? Well, that is what we are telling the story of today. We are talking about how did Howie meet Dan. Okay, so let me explain a little bit of who Dan is. He's a friend of mine that we met through World of Warcraft. And now we have been friends for like 6 years, 7 years. It's been a long time. So how did we meet? How did this all happen? Well, it goes all back to a person known as Azapar Nix. These are all real names, by the way. Real names, real people. Well, one day, I decided to tell my wife, hey, let's go and get computers so we can play World of Warcraft. She's like, well, my God, what's World of Warcraft? I'm like, it's the game that we will spend wasting our lives on for the next however many years because I did that as a child, and let's get back into it. And she's like, sure, that sounds great. Let's never see outside again and let our house crumble around us and everything in our lives will go to shit because we don't pay. No, that didn't really happen. We agreed when we started playing this game, like, we're not going to join a guild. We're not going to do that because, you know what? Guilds are toxic and they'll have requirements of you and you'll have to go do things with people, and we're antisocial. We don't do things with people ever. So one day there was this loverly death knight in the capital, Stormwind, who happened to whisper my wife. Turns out it was because he's kind of a pervy man. Not really, I love you guys, but yeah, really. And was like, hey, how do you want to join my guild there? And my wife's like, oh, let me ask my husband. And immediately he's like, oh, shit. No, I don't know, but he was, he goes, oh, okay, get back to me. So we had somebody ask me if I wanted to join a guild, and they seemed really chill. I guess she talked to him for a minute about it and was like, we don't want to be dedicated people. We don't have to want to log on when, you know, you guys say or whatever. And because we had no idea of what a guild was. To give you an idea of how much we knew about this game, when we were leveling, we went to the Dead Mines and we're like, oh my God, this looks so cool. And we tried to run it just me and her at level. We didn't know that there was a dungeon finder and that that was an activity you did with other people. Let me tell you how that went 3.5 hours later when we were both thinking we needed to get a divorce and move on with our lives because we couldn't do this dungeon. Anyway, we talked it over and we're like, you know what? If it's a casual thing, sure, why not? And that is how we met and became a part of the Orders of Champions with Azapar Nix. He was our guild leader at the time and is still a very close friend of mine. Also, went to the wedding. So naturally, as things do, things progressed, and we started talking to these people and hanging out with them more and more. And one day, Azapar was like, hey, why don't you guys come and we'll do this raid thingy? And I'm like, oh, what's a raid thingy? That's where you get a whole bunch of people together and go get really awesome loot, and it's actually somewhat challenging and it'll be fun. I was like, sure, I could do that. Let's go do that. And this was actually right before Siege of Orgrimmar came out. I think we went into I can't remember where we went, but it was something that we were not geared for because we still hadn't got max characters because we were terrible at the game. But we went in there and it was fun. It was great. I was like, wow, why don't we do this more? And Az was like, sure, buddy, we could do that more. And he actually found somebody that was going to go out and start a raid team. And that's when more people started coming into the guild. It was a great time because there was new people all the time. And we met this guy named Morgan who wanted to raid with us. And then Dan. We decided, okay, let's do this. We're going to go in, and we went in the first night of raid, and we were terrible. We were really bad because I didn't know anything about World of Warcraft, really. I didn't know anything about how to play that game or how to play my class. I was just like, yeah, this button throws a hammer. I'm a paladin, by the way, just in case you didn't know. Fucking paladin. This one swings my sword, and this one exorcises things. Yeah, this was back when exorcisms was a thing. Remember that? By the way, people who don't know World of Warcraft, I'm sorry if this is all above your head, you casual. We start progressing through this raid and whatnot, and this guy, Dan, pulls me aside because he's been talking and whatnot and telling us what to do. It's kind of funny because I didn't know he wasn't the raid leader at the time. Usually what you do is you pick out one person and they kind of direct traffic for the raid. He wasn't that person, but I thought he was because he was doing such a good job of telling people what to do. He pulls me aside after our night and he goes, hey, buddy, like, you were doing good, but let me tell you something. You suck. And I was like, oh, thanks. And he's like, no, it's not a bad thing. I figure you're new. And I was like, no, I'm a pro. Yeah, and he's like, okay, let me show you a couple things. And that is when he took me out and learned me how to play my class, which I love the lore of Paladin. I love everything about Paladin. So for somebody to be like, hey, this is how you do this correctly, I was like, wow. Not to mention he was playing a hunter at the time. So this guy was teaching me how to Paladin, and he was playing a hunter. It was great. He took me and sat me down and he's like, okay, so we need to get your DPS up. I was like, what the fuck is a DPS? And he's like, oh my God, we got a lot of work to do. He's like, that's damage per second, buddy. And I was like, oh, okay. So he showed me how to do this. He sat there with me for, I think we were there for like a good hour, just going over how my class works. And from there, it was just this friendship that came out of nowhere, out of binding over a game. So we played, and this was Mists of Pandaria, right? That tells you how long ago this was. We go through, and we actually ended up getting the achievement for beating Garrosh Hellscream. It's called the Head of the Curve, and it was before the new patch came out. So that was exciting. That was like, fuck yeah. I got a mount that nobody else in the game can earn anymore because it could only do from that thing. And it was with my cool new friends, with Dan, this guy that's super awesome. Since then, a lot has happened. I have so many stories with these guys and so many different things that we've done. It just good times. And if you guys remember my Detroit vlog, they actually, one of the guys there helped fund me to get me out there so that I could go hang out with this group of people and Dan and Mr. Doob and Morgan. So here we are years and years later, and Dan goes, hey, Viz, I'm getting married. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. I was like, congrats, man. He's like, I want you to be there. And I was like, oh, money and stuff like that. And he's like, you know what, Viz, I am going to get you out here no matter what. And I was like, yeah, what? I've never met people who are so kind. I love it. They're awesome people. So anyway, the whole story is where was I? I was in Michigan at this wedding that I wouldn't have missed for the world. So just a little update for you guys, and I guess just letting me gush about my friends and how cool they all are. To Dan and his new wife, God, what is her guild name? Failris? I want to say Failris. She's in the order too. She's an official member now. She married in. Congrats, you guys. And again, thank you for everything you do, for being just fantastic people. For my people who are watching this, remember, or don't be afraid to meet new people. Don't be afraid to talk to people, because that's how I was. I was really antisocial, didn't want to talk to anybody, didn't want to put myself out there. And what an opportunity I would have missed if I was like, nah, Azapar, I don't want to be in your guild because I just don't want to talk to people. I don't want to be around people. I would have missed out on some of the best friends that I ever had. Now, mind you, disclaimer, warning, gamers, warning. Not everybody out there wants to be your friend. Some people want to take advantage of you, and so be careful. But this was just something that I wanted to put out to let you guys know where I was, let you know I'm having a great time, and to let you guys know that I have some of the best friends in the world. Not to mention, actually, some of my boys stream. Go check out Dre Nation on twitch.tv/DreNation, and go check out Dan at Darth Gaines. It's twitch.tv/Darth Gaines. I don't think he streamed in a while, but he gonna, because me and him got some plans. Then Dre streams all the time, and he's great. He's got great content, so go watch him. Thanks for watching. This was Story Time with Howie. We got 2 game videos coming out this week to make up for last week. West of Loathing, and probably West of Loathing because I'm an original and that's what I want to do. So you guys have a awesome day. Thank you so much for listening to me gush, and I will see you in the next video. Oh, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because we out here, boys. We out here to get that bread. So like, comment, and subscribe. Share my videos and make people watch, because it's good. Peace.